anniversary of the Civil War. We're having a Civil War ball. We're having a band that is playing music of the period, teaching dancing of the period, and we have several displays, people who are going to talk about the Civil War. I think a lot of people, when they think about the Civil War, they think of it as something that happened so long ago, but it really is a major factor in our history. I mean, when you stop and think about it, this country was almost torn apart by two rival factions with very different ideas. In many ways, you can see some of the similar kinds of struggles going on when you see the polarization that's going on in this country today, where we have Americans who seem to be so divided by ideas that they seem willing to almost revert to warfare to solve the issues, an unwillingness to try to come together and work things out.
Yes, my great-great-great-grandfather, that's three greats, was 63 years old when the Civil War broke out. He was living in Monroe County, Ohio at the time. He lied about his age, said he was 44, and joined the Union Army. In the same company, this is the Company K of the 78th Ohio Volunteer Infantry, five of his sons were in that regiment, including my great-great-grandfather. The old man's name was John Denbo. The great-great-grandfather, the son, his name was Basil Denbo. And then there was yet another son who was in an entirely different regiment. So the 78th Ohio Volunteer Infantry Company K had basically five of my ancestors in it.
87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in the great Civil War, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We're met on the great battlefield of that war. We've come to dedication of portions of that field, the final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It's altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we could not dedicate, we could not consecrate, we could not hallow this ground. Brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will note no longer remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living rather be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us. That from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause, for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth.